Yo, what's going on, everyone? It's Chase. So we're going to focus in today on Bitcoin and ES, or S&P 500. Reason being, tomorrow we have FOMC. For crypto, the reason I'm focusing primarily on BTC is because I believe it's the one leading the action right now. All eyes on the ETF. I don't think there's too much going on with Ethereum outside of it being the path to on-chain, gambling essentially, or on-chain shitcoining, finding those coins early, etc. Okay, so here we are. We're on Bitcoin. I'm on the weekly, starting out on the high time frame as I usually do. Using the Coinbase chart at the moment, I am still not a fan of how all the exchanges have these different lows here. I do believe we still sweep that up later, but nonetheless, let's talk about what could happen, and if we weren't to sweep those, how I would see it. So first things first, I would mark out this bearish weekly fair value gap. I think this is currently capping price, right? Saw some people get pretty bullish yesterday, say we're breaking out. Nonetheless, I mean, we did pull back. I had a tweet that, drew it like this, and it did do that. It just went faster than I expected. So I didn't personally get a short in there. I was expecting it to consolidate a bit more, but nonetheless, just you got to be cautious about calling for breakouts into higher time frame resistances. Okay, so what would I consider a breakout here? Well, for me, a breakout means we push through the bearish fair value gap, and I understand, you're thinking, oh, well, most of the move is gone then. The reality is, not all the move is gone, because you may be able to get back on a retest at the very top of the fair value gap. I went over this in the previous video, and I showed you other examples of how when these FVGs flip, the top, it turns into an inverse FVG, how the top can now serve as support. Served as resistance here, serves as support here if we flip it. Okay, so while you will miss some of the move, you'll get more confirmation. Additionally, people who are always concerned about missing the move, they're often the ones who get chopped up the most. Let's be realistic about this current price action. You had a lot of chop in here, you had a lot of chop in here, you had a lot of chop in here. You've gotten a couple good moves throughout the months, but not that many. I think a lot of people are trying to make more out of this price action than there actually is. Again, just my personal opinion on it, or perhaps it's just my trading style, but I haven't seen a ton of great opportunities here. Now, just looking at this and breaking it down, weekly bearish fair value gap, but at the same time, weekly sweep of the low. With that said, we did not sweep this low, on Coinbase at least, and we have a bunch of other exchanges that have all different lows around here that I do think should be eventually cleaned up. So nonetheless, bullish scenario is breakthrough on strength. Not just a little crawl, right? Not a crawl. Breakthrough on strength, buy a very shallow retest at the top of the fair value gap, play it to liquidity. Okay, so that's the trade there. Bearish wise, I mean, I'll have to see how we deal with this high if we do go for this high. If we go for this high and we close back below, that could be a trigger right there. If I could draw, yeah, so that could be a trigger right there. If we end up not going for this high and we're back inside here, that could be a trigger right there. Although I don't think I'd be playing this for like a major breakdown, right? I'd really just be playing it. Let's go down to a daily. I'd more or less just be playing it towards like around here. Like there's not, I don't think there's a ton of, it would be a little scalp, right? I don't think you can, that's the big problem here, guys, is that we're seeing a lot of these consolidative moments. And every time there's even a tiny bit of volatility, everyone gets crazy. But the reality is, if we do come back into here, we might just do this. No one's saying that we're making any major move here. At least the market's not saying we're making any major move. So yeah, that's how I'm viewing Bitcoin at the moment. I have a bullish scenario in mind, and I have a potential bearish scenario in mind. But I do think that neither opportunities are really that great. I think the bullish opportunity would be a change of pace for the market. So that could be something noteworthy. If we reclaimed all of this price action, which was like, I forget what news this was, but there's always some type of news lately. If we happen to reclaim all that price action and we just dig back a little bit, that probably continues north. So that would be the bullish scenario that I'm looking for. But I do think it's hard to just, immediately expect that, oh yeah, we're breaking out here. In my opinion, that's more just a gamble or a hunch, because we're into high time frame resistance. Not only so, and even if you don't subscribe to the fair value gaps and stuff, you could just mark it out like this and just say, okay, you had supply here, so you had buyers, and then we dumped. And when price action flips like this, right? So if you had all buyers in here, you have buyers, they're holding price up, it dumps, price comes back up, buyers want to get out at break even, rejects from there. So that's how I'm seeing it. So whether you look at the fair value gap view, and the fair value gap view aligns with the top of this supply, right? So that you have two levels of confluence in there, they meet at the same time. So whichever way you want to look at it, as I always tell you guys, if you know how to spot a good level, you know how to spot a good level. Okay, it's not always 100% about the technique. It's often just, making sure you have sound understanding of multiple techniques, and then you'll be able to figure out where the resistances are and where the liquidity levels are, etc. Okay, to everyone get a sip in. Move over to ES. On ES here, I'm on the monthly. Starting on the monthly, I'll mark out a monthly bullish fair value gap. I'll mark out a liquidity low here, and then I will mark out a high here, that if we were to sweep this low, I would expect that we sweep this high next. Hopefully my dog doesn't start going crazy. I think a package is getting delivered. Okay, so hopefully you saw how simply I just broke that down, right? Monthly bullish fair value gap, right? Then we mark the low inside of it, looking for a potential sweep. And if we were to sweep this, we simply look towards the other side and say, okay, well, we swept the monthly low, now let's go for the monthly high. Pretty much as simple as that. So that's what I'll be looking for into FOMC. I'll be seeing how, if we hang around here. If you are trading FOMC, be cautious. The moves are very fast, although it's very high volume, so you can get clean price action on a very low time frame. If you do see a push below here and a reclaim, let's say on, this isn't drawn to time scale, obviously, right? I'd be looking for this on a 1 or a 5 minute. Price pushes below and then reclaims on a 1 minute or a 5 minute. Just a retest of the level. It could go a little deeper, but pretty much a retest of the level should be good, and you can get some very volatile moves on FOMC days. Let's see how many points this is. 200, that's a bit excessive. I don't think you'll get the full 200, but let's go down to a daily and see if we can mark out anything. I could see it doing something like this into this daily supply right here that is formed. So let's say FOMC, it gets bearish. It's bearish in the beginning, come down, sweep into this pretty much demand level right here that sent us up. Look for the reclaim, buy the reclaim, straight up to supply, and then it'll reject, and that'll be about it. So those are the two trades I'll be looking for. This one I'm more interested in. This one is a decent possibility as well. So there's a long and a short idea there. I think that's the move. I don't think I'd be looking to short from here to here. Just because liquidity had already been taken here, sweep of this low. So I don't think like downside liquidity is super important, but I do think that if it did sweep this level, that it should be good for a bounce. Okay, so hopefully that was a quick breakdown of Bitcoin from a higher time frame and ES from a higher time frame, showing you guys how I break it down. And then as always, guys, it's like these trades, right? You can use the high time frame, you can use the monthly, you can use the weekly, you can use the daily to plot out your levels, and then it's a matter of looking for those sweeps, looking for those moves into the fair value gaps, looking supply and demand, etc. Find those moves into there, and then drill down into your 1 hour, your 15 minute, your 5 minute, Even if you're very experienced and it's a high volume day, you could look into the 1 minute. You don't really need the 1, to be honest. I'm only talking about the 1 because it's an FOMC day. If it's not FOMC, I don't pay much attention to the 1. Okay, let's put it that way. Only FOMC day do I sometimes look at the 1, because sometimes FOMC moves so quickly that if you're sitting there waiting for an entry on the 5, you might not get it. Okay. As always, these videos are sponsored by Prime XBT. And also sponsored by Bluefin, which is a decentralized exchange. I'll have more information about them coming soon if decentralized is your cup of tea. Okay, you can find my links at the bottom and in the YouTube description. Please like and retweet the tweet. As always, appreciate you guys very much. Leave comments, let me know what you think. Yeah, and that's about it. Hope you guys have a great day, and I will talk to you soon. Bye-bye.